short way from the Caucasian mountains, near the green hills, there is a village nicely called Svetlovodskaya, Light Waters. In this village, there lived people I'd like to tell you about. Many of them are still living here, known as Hauptschew family. Hussein Matsuevich, head of the clan, Fatima Khudovna, clan's mother, and 5 of their sons, Zaur, Zaurbek, Aslanbek, Arsen, Anwar. Hussein and Fatimat brought up decent sons, having taught them how to work hard and how to love other people. This is the house of the Hauptschews, an ordinary Kabardine country estate, from which their eaglets of sons started their flights, gradually becoming real eagles. Sadly, there are no more Hussein, Fatimat and their youngest son, Anwar, by now. As for Zaur, Zaurbek, Aslanbek and Arsen, they are leading decent lives, thus protecting the honor of their family.
Родились мы все в
We all were born in a remote village called Belokamenное, Whitestone, which belonged to Zolsky region. Several years after, we moved to the other village of Svetlovodskaya. I was 7 or 8, and there were 5 of us by the time. Our father was engaged in cattle breeding, and we also owned a garden. As I remember, this garden occupied about 1 acre. Our father made us all to take care of it. Good, wonderful garden. Now I remember that time more often and often. As the spring would come, we all were very busy. Our father would get us together and charged us with work in the rows of apples and pear trees. The 2 younger brothers were too small, and the other 4 worked with the hand pump. There were several giant pear trees, and those who had to work with them considered their job very hard. The most important thing was that this garden helped our family to keep ends meet. A lucky year was when the harvest was good. Our parents loved their work and were happy to do it.
Интересно для них, и они этим занимались, можно сказать, всю свою жизнь.
Father and mother didn't leave their children golden bars or silver rubles. Their sons inherited much more valuable things: love for their native land and for people living on it. In the family archive of the Hauptschews, we found this video, in which we see Fatimat Khudovna, the family hearthkeeper, in her own home. This is her image, which is being kept in the memory of her children and grandchildren. Few things she asked her sons to perform, and among them to plant a fruit garden near the village. Remember, she used to say, Circassian gardens in the history of the Adiga people were always considered one of their main treasures.
Мама всегда нас учила: живите мирно, живите спокойно.
Our mother always taught us to live in peace and tranquility. Be compassionate to joys and griefs not only of yourselves, but also of your neighbors and other people. Even if you reached high position, be able to see other people's needs, their problems, and try to help them. She led what we call productive life. I'm very happy that my brothers have chosen exactly this life. Actually, we haven't considered other options. My mid-brother, Arsen, who was born next to myself, and until today he lives in our family home in Svetlovodskaya. And when our republic started to revive agriculture and horticulture as well, I advised my brothers to work in this direction.
Я сам лично посоветовал своим братьям заняться именно этим направлением.
Having in mind that this was our mom's wish. So my brothers began to work in horticulture.
Заниматься выращиванием садов. Я, например, представляю себе это так. Что может быть лучше?
In my opinion, what could be better? When you come to the empty earth, work on it, plant trees, and then watch these trees give you fresh, aromatic, tasty apples.
Дают яблоки вкусные.
Yes, it's business. It's natural for a man to do business. But it's kind of business that you like, that brings you moral satisfaction. And this business is an implementation of the wishes of your ancestors, of your mom. What could be better?
Который приносит ему моральное удовлетворение и который является исполнением завета.
I'm quite satisfied, quite happy, and I consult my brothers, trying to help them and to prompt what should be done.
Очень доволен. И я консультирую своих братьев, наставляю их, подсказываю им, что делать.
Such kinds of land plots are not typical in Kabardino-Balkaria. They are not considered suitable for agriculture, let alone horticulture or wine growing. And in such land, Hauptschew brothers plant their gardens, mom's gardens as they call them. One of rainy autumn days we arrived to the outskirts of Svetlovodskaya village, and we saw a wonder. Young garden planted in accordance with the most modern technology. How old is this garden, we asked. The answer was amazing. 1 year.
Мы выросли в селении Светловодской, нас воспитали.
We grew up in Svetlovodskaya village, 5 of us, 5 sons, and our father and mother brought us up, teaching the life we should lead. We owned gardens in our country estate, and we always took part in taking care of them, together with our parents. Here in Svetlovodskaya we set up by now the 63 hectares land plot. And in April we already planted 30 hectares. In Germenchik village we set up a nice garden, which already bears fruits. Italian technology we use here is called intensive garden. We brought seedlings from Italy, thoroughly kept to the requirements of drip irrigation, and here you can see the results. Our mom asked, plant a garden in our own village. Here in Kabardino-Balkaria, when the garden starts to bear fruits, distribute them among those in need, among the poor. And here you are. The mom's garden flourishes.
И вот итог. Растет, расцветает мамин сад.
Значит, если бы это, конечно, не мама.
So if not for our mom and our dad, we wouldn't plant these gardens, and we wouldn't exist ourselves. We bow our heads to them, and if there is something in other world, let it be garden of paradise for them. As for these gardens, they belong to them, of course, and to the people living around.
В первую очередь, это им принадлежат и людям, которые нас окружают.
These are also young gardens, but they already bear fruits. People driving past them admire. What a wonder! Apples on branches like bunch of grapes. And it's really worth admiration. Look, admire and enjoy. Because it's our land, our Kabardino-Balkaria. Nice to see that modern technologies in horticulture become trendy in our republic. Country of gardens, country of golden fruits, they say of Kabardino-Balkaria.
С давних пор Кабардино-Балкария славилась своими плодами.
Since long, Kabardino-Balkaria was famous for its fruits. The first gardens were planted by Prince Atajukin. Until today, some of those trees are still alive and remind us of those times. The federal program Revival of Horticulture was adopted in Russia.
Очень активной поддержки Министерства сельского
In our
хозяйства.
republic, it is being rapidly implemented by the Ministry of Agriculture and ordinary inhabitants of the republic,
Интерес к этой отрасли. Сады
those
Эльбруса
who are
одно из самых
interested in this
передовых
business.
современных хозяйств.
The Gardens of Elbrus is one of the most modern enterprises. It features all the contemporary European technologies, based on experience of the specialists of Italy, Holland, Austria, Poland, and other countries, based also on experience of Russian scientists.
Это хозяйство не только берет их опыт, но и опыт российских ученых.
La ditta Zanzi opera nel settore vivaistico.
Zanzi Company plants seedlings, grow new breeds,
Le fa crescere
and
poi le
distribute them in
esporta,
other
sia
countries.
in Italia sia all'estero.
Today it has its representatives in
Abbiamo
Kabardino-Balkaria,
anche la Corea,
Kazakhstan,
la Cina
Korea, China.
e il Kazakistan. Io praticamente il mio lavoro è insegnare ai nuovi frutticoltori di Kabardino-Balkaria a
My job in Kabardino-Balkaria is to watch the growth of seedlings,
farle produrre.
consult owners on fertilizers, other
Cercando di avere un
subjects,
prodotto di
until
qualità
time of
sia dal punto di
harvest
vista
comes.
chimico che nutrizionale.
Вся наша семья, в общем-то, коренные земледельцы. Родители наши были.
All of our family members are born farmers.
Большое подсобное
Our
хозяйство.
parents worked on land, they owned a big estate, and their garden was one of the most beautiful gardens of Zolsky region. We, the children, probably inherited this love for land from our parents. And that's why we decided to set up a garden business. The most important incentive for us was the love of our parents for farming. They were so engaged, so enthusiastic to work in agriculture. They always felt happy because we owned that garden, that magnificent garden. Our mom used to say, "I wish we had a big estate, a big garden." Probably that was one of the reasons for our decision based on deep respect for our mother and willing to continue the traditions of our parents. I think what we do, it's not for us only. It's for the sake of all the people. Our garden is a success thanks to those who helped us, who was involved in this business. Now we all work together and share our common success. I suppose we'll continue to work together and together receive fruits of our work. So the people are happy because of this garden and they have steady jobs there.
И люди будут довольны тем, что такой сад есть, и они заняты работой.
Family enterprise of the Hauptschefs is called the Gardens of Elbrus, and it is one of the Kabardino-Balkaria attractions. The Hauptschef brothers set the trend, and tens of other farmers followed the suit. It means that soon wonderful fruits of these gardens fill not only a local market, but markets in many other Russian regions.
На территории Кабардино-Балкарии есть отделение Ассоциации правоохранительных органов России.
In Kabardino-Balkaria, there is a territorial branch of the Law Enforcement Association of Russia. I'm the chairman of this branch. I have the idea which I've presented for consideration in the Ministry of Interior and Ministry of Economics in Moscow. It's not the official document yet, but the idea is to attract the retired officers from the law enforcement structures for the work in association. Those who wish to continue their work should be given an opportunity, conditions, so that they may use their experience. I wish to create special structures for those who retired, one specializing in agriculture, another for professional lawyers, for garden staff, and so on. If the official law enforcement structure is interested in these people, they can create working places for them, so that the retired officers could earn their living, help their families. I think they would be perfect for this goal. I'll start this, and when it works, at least a couple of hundreds of the retired officers would be able to have decent salaries and interesting work. As for my brothers, they go on working in cooperation with other regions of Russian Federation, as well as with other countries, such as Germany, Italy, Greece. Their work is not only hard, but it's interesting, and what is most important, creative.
Эта компания была образована в 2009 году. Первая закладка садов на землях селения Шалушка Чегемского района были заложены в 2010 году.
The company was founded in 2009. First trees were planted in our gardens near Shalushka village of the Chegem region. Those who started the business encountered completely new problems, which had to be solved. So we can see now the first positive results, and these results achieved by the group of specialists who work here in this company. The trees for this garden were imported from Europe. Actually, these are Italian seedlings, provided by the companies Griba, Dance, Forcher. We can say we are lucky to have such importers. Intensive technology means not only dripping irrigation. It includes way of providing underground watering, and each drop is from the artesian holes, drilled in earth as deep as 100 meters. It is very important that the water for apple trees irrigation was pure artesian. The company have big prospects. We already know which sorts are better option and which are subjects to some diseases, and we know how to handle these problems. We receive much help from the Institute of Horticulture. Its specialists consult us whenever we need it, and they are always beside us. But the most important thing is that people do a good job, which brings good results. We see now a new generation of apple horticulture here in the Republic of Kabardino-Balkaria.
И результаты налицо. Мы видим новое поколение яблок или новое поколение садоводства здесь, в Республике Кабардино-Балкария.
This ultimately modern refrigerator also belongs to the gardens of Elbrus. Its capacity 5 tons of fruits. While gardens of Brothers Hauptschefs are still young, they do not require so much space. So what remains is offered for rent.
Холодильник наш был построен в прошлом году в сжатые сроки.
German specialists took very short time last year to have built this refrigerator. It contains up to 5,000 tons of fruits yearly. At present, we store in it fruits that we harvest ourselves in our gardens. But we also may accept fruits from other farmers for sorting and storage. Thanks to our fridge, we can store apples all year round and offer to people fresh apples all year round as well.
И люди могут получать свежие фрукты практически круглый год.
знаменитые черкесские сады. Они пошли еще с 18 века, и это признавали на Руси, это признавали в Турции, это признавали везде. Знаменитые черкесские сады.
Circassian gardens were famous since 18th century in Russia, in Turkey, everywhere. These famous Circassian gardens primarily consisted of thousands and thousands hectares of crab apples and pears, which grew on territories from the Black Sea shore and up to the neighboring countries in the north. Since 18th century, Circassians, Adiga and Kabardins started to cultivate apples and pears in their gardens. It was kind of national hobby. There is a belief, when a Circassian, especially of a noble origin, went to the forest, he took several grafts from his garden apples or pears to implant them to wild sorts of fruit trees. And thus they went and grafted hundreds and thousands of trees. So the cultured sorts of apples and pears appeared. Actually, they started grafting, and it's admitted everywhere, even in Europe. Our republic is an agricultural one, and what we must do in the first place is to devote ourselves to horticulture, vegetable growing, wine growing, cattle fodder, maize growing. Whatever else should we grow? Isn't it nice if on the sides of our roads apples and pears would grow? And it is quite right that our republic develops exactly in this direction.
Наша республика, что именно активно занимается в этом направлении.
We told you the story of a single Kabardin family's good deeds of Khaupchev brothers. They are devoted to the will of their ancestors, to take care of their homeland, to keep it beautiful.